back of our Honda CRV had swung open on a main road. And so I got out to close the door. And when I did, I turned and a woman had run through a stop sign and had overcorrected and plowed into my car, and I was on the outside of the car. It was a pretty damaging accident for sure, but I was alive. The door that had opened, they kind of figured had saved my life because it took most of the brunt of the car accident.
Wow.
It was so profound in my life that it really changed how I thought and about what's important.
This is the Leave It Better podcast, powered by the Side Out Foundation. Here's your host, Hall of Fame coach, Janice Kruger.
Welcome to Leave It Better. My hope is that you will learn something today that makes your day just a little bit better. I am your host, Janice Kruger. Today I'm talking with Tyler Carey about his life, journey as a teacher, coach, philanthropist, son, husband, and father, and how he sees himself leaving it better. Tyler, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. Tyler, a couple things that I know about you. You've been at Queenberry High School teaching as an art teacher, a volleyball coach, and a philanthropist that started the Power of Pink tournament. I think it was your vision to start the Power of Pink volleyball tournament in Upper New York to support breast cancer and cancer research. If I count right, this was your 14th year hosting Power of Pink.
Power of Pink was a initiative that was started in our district by the field hockey coach who was a breast cancer survivor and was involved with the American Cancer Society. We had our head cheerleading coach who also worked in my building, was also a breast cancer survivor. And so as a way to try to honor them and to honor the fight of people going through breast cancer, she asked that all coaches try to create something pink. And so for football, it might have been that they were wearing pink wristbands or, something on their uniform. For us, it was we started by having a Power of Pink match with another school. So they would come to us. We had made T-shirts with numbers on it for the girls to wear, and it was pink. And so we had this fledgling tournament that we were trying to run in the district. And at the time, it was 4 schools, including us. And so the next year, we decided to make it a Power of Pink tournament. And so what I asked the coaches to do was not only, come and be involved in it, but see if we can't compete with each other to see who can raise the most money. And so I had local school, Lake George, who the coach, one of the winningest coaches in New York history. She had like maybe 700 wins at the time or something. Super competitive.
No.
And her team came with like $1,000. And I was just like, what? How did you manage to raise that amount of money? And she explained that she had been making little pink ribbons for the kids to sell. And they were, $1 or $2 or whatever. And they had sold like 700 of them, something insane, because in Lake George, which is a tourist town, over the summer, a lot of the kids would just sell to tourists who are walking around, and people were willing to give $1 or $2. And so, we were kind of inspired by that. And then the next year, I realized that I could probably run 2 courts and I could have twice as many teams. And so I kind of sent it out to the local coaches and had a ton just respond. Most were really interested in just being able to play in a tournament, which there aren't as many available at the time. And some were really excited about what the tournament was doing. And so we doubled in size again, and we just kept going. And so pretty soon with American Cancer, we were showing up at their, they had a walk that they were doing every year. And different groups would raise $200-$300 there. And I was showing up with a giant check that I had made. And it said on it $30,000. And they're like, oh my gosh, how did you do this? And I'm like, I don't even know. Like, it just sort of has spiraled into this thing. And, everyone's getting really excited about it.
This tournament is really special because it does a couple of things, both competing in a fundraising element and also in competition for the young women that are playing. And each year, what makes this super special is that you honor somebody in the community that maybe is having a struggle or a battle with cancer in some way. I consider you a Gold Star coach. Okay, and you're like, what's a Gold Star coach? Teaching your students and your players the value of caring, connection, and teamwork. You reach for the stars in a lot of things that you care for. You bring your volleyball coaches in your upper New York area here around Queensbury, New York, together to raise funds and to do something for a great cause. I'm shining a light on Tyler because of his ability to impact breast cancer by raising funds. And you've raised, just with the Side Out Foundation, just shy of $300,000 in the 6 years that you've been associated with the Side Out Foundation. I find that to be quite exceptional, and I am so glad that you found the Side Out Foundation to partner with our Dig Pink programs in teaching and involving your young student athletes of all the programs that are participating in your tournament to learn more. I see that in your tournament each year, and I find that to be something that's really special. And Side Out is very thankful for your partnership in Dig Pink.
It's been it's been great getting to know everybody. This year was, like all the years that we've done this, it's something new and something exciting we try to bring to the tournament to get the kids excited about it. One of my favorite things is seeing the T-shirts that we make, and we see them all over the place. And even my kids, my daughter who's at college, sees them on campus, and she's like, yeah, my dad designed that T-shirt, and it's been a really special thing for my family for sure. So.
Oh, that's so fun. I love that. I used to have some of that with coaching as well. It means so much, I'm sure, for your daughter. So this podcast is about Leave It Better. What does it mean to you to leave it better, to leave a situation better, Tyler?
Well, my one of my big things, big focuses is integrity in general. I'm the type of coach who, when, for example, if, there's a tight play close to the net and the ball goes off of one of our girls' hands and we know it was us, I look at them and they give me the nod and, that was ours, it hit off of us. And a lot of other coaches don't do that because winning is a focus, and not that we're not excited about winning. It's just that when everything's said and done, you want to make sure that you're leaving the sport, leaving playing that, if you won, it's because you actually won, not because the officials missed something. And I think for the girls this year in particular, I saw a lot of girls really buying into that. So that was a pretty exciting thing for me. And some of them talking about that, at the banquet this year about how, they're really appreciative of that, whereas maybe some other coaches wouldn't focus on that. But that's definitely one thing that I'm really proud of. And to see the kids see that, integrity is, how everyone sees you, when they're not looking, it's how you behave. And I like to think that with my own children as well as those kids who are, my kids for 2 or 3 months, that maybe that's something that I've left with them.
I have a quick question on that. So do you call the kids that are like 40 or 35 now still kids?
For sure.
I do.
Absolutely. I have one of my kids is now the JV coach, which is awesome. And I was hoping that as the years have gone by, that that would be the case, that we would have more of those kids come back. There's quite a few of them who are coaching at different levels. Some who are, still playing the sport, but quite a few who, are still in contact with me. And it humbles me to hear them talk about their time with me and how, they liked playing in college and everything, but, if they could jump back to that time when they were playing in high school and playing on my team, that they would do it in a heartbeat. That stuff is pretty great to hear.
It is really great to hear. I got to witness and watch a video of you and Rick talking a while ago, and I was really impressed with you and how you saw the game, how you talked about the game. And it was just, I hadn't really gotten that from you because of the time that we had together and the things that we were doing when we were there trying to put run your tournament with you. And but you were doing some high quality, again, gold star coach.
I definitely have always been a student of the game, even before I could really play it well. I didn't play in high school. We didn't have a men's team. It wasn't until college when I met a few guys at Alfred University who had transferred there from Division I programs. So they were kind of rock stars, but they weren't quite tall enough to play at the D1 level.
Okay.
And we started our own club team, but it was the three of us who had done that. We started everything right from the beginning. So my first experience with volleyball was having to do all the stuff. So that was nothing new to me. Getting used to, having to get our own uniforms and scrape out some practice time anytime the gym was available and drive ourselves to our own tournaments. I mean, that's how I started.
Doing is learning, man. You got a great education out of the gate on that. Sure. Let's talk just a little bit about Power of Pink. And you mentioned that this was your last year being involved. We're going to step back and let some of those that have been a part of your program take over and run the tournament. What is your hope for Power of Pink moving forward since you're going to be stepping down from actually running the event?
Well, I think first and foremost, I hope it continues. I know it's a big, thing to take on. So I want to make sure that, in whatever way they need me to make sure that it still happens, that I can certainly support in that way. I think at least for the foreseeable future, it's definitely something that the two coaches that are taking over are focused on. I think it's become such a thing that's synonymous with our school that they would hate to be the ones to see that fall by the wayside. But I know it's a lot of work because I've done it for so long. So I'm definitely focused on making sure that it continues, and I hope that it does.
Yeah, and I'm gonna promise you that the Side Out Foundation will fill in and help in whatever way that we can to make this incredible event continue. It really is something special. I don't think I've been to anything else quite the same anywhere in the country.
I know some of that is us, but also what your program brings to, the foundation brings to us and what you as people have brought out. I mean, I know that my parents, look at you when you come and stay and felt very comfortable with you being there and as if it was, oh, great, Janice is coming. We're going to make sure that we're making dinner and having cookies ready and stuff. And, that was pretty exciting for them as well. So it's been really great to getting to know all the people who get a chance to come. And, every couple of years we meet somebody new, but, everyone's been so wonderful and supportive. So,
yeah, that was really special for me to stay there. It really was. I'm so glad that happened. I think your insightfulness and your ability to go with things that are just so fun for people and kids that makes all of the things with Power of Pink so special, Tyler. It's just really great.
I think of some of the schools who, you look at them demographically and the types of industry that they have in their towns. And there's, some of these smaller schools don't even have stoplights, in their town. Yet they come into a scenario where they're raising $3,000-$4,000, and you want to say, not only do you want to say thank you, but you want to make it memorable for them, and it's usually, the seniors who you're kind of looking out for, but also those underclassmen who are going to be the ones that are leading the charge the next year. And you want them to say, hey, that was a lot of fun. We want to do that again. And hey, we want to be up on that leaderboard next year and make sure that, we're being recognized for that. So competition, it's funny that really works. And we really kind of fell into that. We're just kind of hoping people would raise a little bit of money when it started, and just to see how creative coaches were being to do that. And it was instantly, okay, I want to know what you did. What was it? How did you raise so much money? I remember the first time we had someone raise $1,000. I was like, all over that coach. I'm like, you got to tell me what you're doing. And she's like, oh, we had a spike-a-thon. I'm like, what is that? Tell me what you're doing. And, ever since then, we've just had coaches who are just everyone's been affected by cancer. So it's not a hard pull when it comes to that. But just to see the kids who, again, they probably don't have a lot for themselves, yet they still manage to raise money. It's just mind-blowing.
I want to ask you, can you think of some things or something in which you really witnessed some greatness in somebody, some situation that you wouldn't mind sharing?
One of the things that kind of stuck out for me over the last couple of years is having those former players of mine who have gone to college and they've become certified teachers, getting jobs in the area, and then are coming back as coaches who have been involved. Our JV coach this year, her name was Kristen O'Connor, and Kristen is one of those kids who was just rock star, libero, just broke all sorts of, broke all the records that she had set out. Just a real tenacious kid, that, you wish you had 7 of, when you're, getting your team set up. But to have her come back and not only think of ways that she could raise money, but just to see her she's been involved for 3 or 4 years now as a volunteer or as a coach. And, just to see her take over roles in terms of a lot of times in the past, with different people helping out, I'd have to instruct them how to do certain things. And I'm, now turning around and to look for her, and she's there and she's got, a handful of score sheets or other things. And just to see that stuff doesn't fall on deaf ears. And, it's become this, community thing. And, she's really taking on that role that I hope somebody would. She's always been one of those people that I can rely on, but it's tough to kind of step away from coaching, not sure what's going to happen with the program. But with her at JV and Emily, who I've always been very, confident in, to be able to, to take over, it's been, an easy step away for sure.
So if you had to say what greatness meant to you,
how someone can be great is to try to do something that's different or something that stands out to others. For myself, it's been ways of being an art teacher and just trying to be creative in whatever it is that I'm doing. I'll give you an example. When we had purchased our first house in Queensbury, we had a split level house, and one way that I thought I could be a great dad was to make an environment for my kids that would be inspiring and creative for whatever it is that they wanted to do. So we put a slide on the inside of our house. No. So we had a slide going from the split level, so it would go from the second level down to the basement level. And for me, that was a really great way to not only keep the upstairs clean, we would just send all their toys down the slide. But during the wintertime, my kids got exercise because they would, go down the slide and then have to climb back up the stairs. And, this was a way that we could just keep them, interested and moving and doing fun things.
Hi there, Janice here. I want to take a minute to tell you about something very personal and important to me, my job. I'm the brand ambassador to the Side Out Foundation, and I've been a part of it since it began about 20 years ago. Believe it or not, I was recruited to join the Side Out team by the founder's father. He looked me up online and asked me out to lunch. That's when I got to learn more about his wife, Gloria. Gloria is the reason this Side Out Foundation exists. Her son and husband wanted to give her more time, and it worked. Gloria was this fiery redhead that was so full of energy and joy and happiness. They'd invite me and my partner over to Thanksgiving, and Gloria would dance around the house. She always made me feel so welcome. I joined the team at Side Out for the very same reason we get athletes involved with our Dig Pink program, because I wanted to be a part of something bigger than myself. I wanted to see Gloria have more time, and I was thinking about all my female friends I could potentially be helping. One of the goals of this podcast is to let people know that they can help us help people living with metastatic breast cancer see more tomorrows. How? By harnessing the passion and power of youth volleyball to raise money that will go toward real research and clinical trials that really do give families more time with their loved ones. That's one of my favorite things about this job, is that you can actually see the results of our research and how it helps give people more time. For more information, head to our website, side-out.org. Now back to the show.
So I've always really appreciated that with other people. I have several friends who have been, creative in the way that they've made their spaces, their homes for their children creative, and it could be through, things that they've built within the home, or programs that they get their kids involved in. To me, doing that for whatever it is that you are a part of, and trying to make your stamp on life, it really, project out there as being something that no one else has done before, or at least few have done before. So.
Yeah, I say you get an A+ on.
Well, I'm a customizer, that's for sure. Like I've figured that out. Like I'm never okay with, exactly how, like if I get like, let's say I'm making tacos, well, I'm going to make myself a salsa to go on those. I'm not just going to get the jar. I'm going to make a salsa so that I have something that I've kind of put my stamp on. So
Tyler, I know in life you come through and you deal with some struggles, or you deal with some challenges. I know of one that I'm aware of that you had to go through. Would you like to share any of that and how
Sure.
that affected your life?
Yeah, one of the most important things, aside from the standard things, getting married and having children, was April 11th, 2011, when I was hit by a drunk driver. And this was just, maybe 100 yards or so from my parents' house in Queensbury. I had gone to my parents' house to drop off something for our dog, who was going to be staying with them, because I was going to have surgery on my shoulder a few days later. And when I had left the house, the back of our Honda CRV had swung open on a main road. And so I got out to close the door. And when I did, I turned, and a woman had run through a stop sign and had overcorrected and plowed into my car. And I was on the outside of the car. So when that happened, I had a break in my right femur and tibula, as well as some soft tissue damage in my left leg. It was a pretty damaging, accident for sure. But I was alive. I could walk. I had my legs. So many things that could have gone wrong didn't. In fact, the door that had opened, they kind of figured had saved my life, because it took most of the brunt of the car accident. So I went through, I had 4 surgeries associated with that, as well as several procedures that were involved with infections that I had because of the complications from all the surgeries. In and out of the hospital, I had to learn how to walk again. But the thing that it really did for me is it opened my eyes. I stopped taking things like sleeping in your own bed, for granted. Being able to tuck your kids in at night. My kids were pretty young when it happened, and obviously it was difficult to explain to them what had happened. But since then, I've begun traveling, because it was something that I always wanted to do. And once I realized that someone could very easily just take that away from me, I decided I was going to try to see as many of the national parks in the United States as I can. So since that time, my first trip was with a college buddy. He and I had always talked about going, and we did Shenandoah in Virginia, and then we went to Great Smoky Mountains, and then Mammoth Cave in Kentucky. And since then, I've done 42 out of the 63, trying to go every year to as many national parks as I can. So now my kids have been to all of these great places, and realizing just how much it has brought us all closer together. And we've even gone out and expanded by bringing some of their friends and even their boyfriends on some of the trips with us, so that they get a chance to experience some of these things. And it's one of, it's the thing I look forward to the most. And I look at that date when that accident happened as one of the greatest things that happened to me. And if I had a chance to do it again, I would. And it's hard to think of it in that way, but it was so profound in my life that it really changed how I thought and about what's important. And so I'm really proud of that as well.
Wow.
I have some pretty serious credit card debt, but we'll get that paid off at some point. I'm not too worried.
Well, I don't go anywhere now if I don't see a sign for a national park or a T-shirt that I don't think about you. Honestly, it's on every time I was like, I should get that for Tyler. Yeah. Oh, he probably already has it. One of the things in having you on today, Tyler, for me, is that I just truly appreciate, one, that you're a volleyball coach. You love this game. You're teaching this game so well to the kids and to the players that you've come in contact with. That you've taken that passion, taken it into something, and built a tournament that is out there doing things for a cause with metastatic breast cancer or cancer in general. Each time I've been there, it's like the connection with your family has always just felt so real and easy. And they're really good cooks, by the way. But
I'm going to say that's why I have a few extra pounds. I think about the people that I've met through Side Out quite a bit, and I mean I was just thinking about Josh, for example. I was always so impressed. When we first contacted Side Out as trying to find a partner in this thing that we were creating, and just how welcoming everybody was and how excited they were for what we were doing. And with the last group that we had done this with, we didn't feel that same sort of love, and I knew that what we had was something special, just from comments that from the community, and they couldn't believe the amount of money that we were raising. And, initially it was that way, but it's, I think the enthusiasm sort of petered off after a while. But once, we got involved with Side Out, just to see that kismet of, when I met everybody, and, Rick and I are absolutely cut from the same cloth. That's a weird thing to me. Just, we have so many things in common, but every time I talk to him, it's like this is a, roommate from college or something that I just have had this experience with, and we've just been in the battle together, and we just kind of get each other, and that's always been really great. I've really appreciated that. But just, it just seems like such a, what you guys do is just so remarkable, and just to be a part of that, and it's just such a cool thing. And I know that a lot of the coaches in the area, even some that for whatever reason can't come to our tournament, know that about Side Out, and when I ask them to try to come up with some way to raise money, they all get it. They know what it's for. And so, in fact, this year we had a custodian from Queensbury who was cleaning up, and he was just asking some questions, and we had people from Side Out right there who could answer his questions about his sister who was going through breast cancer. It was just awesome. I'm like, well, right here is somebody who could answer all those questions, and sure enough, it was so great, like to just have that connection, and to be able to kind of answer some questions for him. And he was just there working. He was just trying to make a living, and but to see him, like his eyes are like, wow, this is the thing, and it had real answers for the questions that he had.
And that's something that we do love to have, and to be there for those situations. And all the folks that are hosting or raising money for us, we hope that they will share that with anybody that they come into contact, family, community, where we can help them, if at all possible, we will try. I'm thankful for that part. I've been with this foundation for 15 years myself, and it's come a long way since the beginning. I do see how you and Rick are very similar in a lot of ways, and I love that you feel that, and you also notice that because he feels the same.
Well, so much of what we do is based on what other people had figured out, eat like the omelets, that was a dad from the next town over who was a chef. And he came up and said, would you guys be willing to let me do an omelet station? And we're like, of course, that sounds amazing. And so he just started doing that. And then we were all like, we could do that. That's great. What a great idea. And so we, after his daughter graduated, we just took it over and, someone else picked it up. And even running a tournament, I remember the first time our club team was going to run a tournament, and someone asked, does anyone know how to run a tournament? And everyone kind of looked around, and, one of the dads just said, I don't know, I'll figure it out. So he did. And then the next year I'm like, oh, I can do that. So, share with me what you did, where'd you go through, and I can take it on. And so a lot of that is just taking that first step and realizing that it is a thing that you can do. There's, other people have done it. This is not a new thing. And if you just sort of learn from what the mistakes that they've already made and take that into making your own mistakes and learning from them, you get a really, you get pretty far pretty quick. This started pretty small just as a single match thing, but it became just a great reason to run a tournament. And then it just snowballed, and it was, oh man, how many courts can we put on campus? And if we don't have enough, are there other schools locally that will let us? And everyone's always, sure, absolutely. Every athletic director, absolutely. They all want to be involved in it because it looks good for them, but because they've also have all had somebody who's suffered cancer, and they know just how horrible that is, and anything you can do, and I think that for me, when I was asked by our cheerleading and field hockey coach to do a Power of Pink thing for volleyball, I'm like, okay, I don't know what that is, but I'll figure something out. And then it just became this thing, this thing that is, bigger than me and bigger than, all the kids that are involved in it. And, it's just, I would like to say that I did that, but I honestly don't believe that it was. It's just this thing that has grown out of, people wanting to do something good and feel good about doing something for others. And, so much that we're learning with our students coming out of the pandemic, that if you can give a kid an opportunity to just do something for someone else, it makes it so much easier for them to feel good about themselves, whereas when we were isolated, in the pandemic, it was so hard to feel that way. But once you get a chance just to hold the door for somebody or pick up, papers for people if they've dropped something in the hallway, just simple things like that can make you feel good. And then you want to do it more. And I think the thing that I hope most kids have gotten from that is that they have genuinely helped people. And I think they also look at it, I got to have this really fun tournament that was, something that could be a memory of mine. But, when it's all said and done, they look at that number, and this year for us, that was $53,000. They're like, wow, I did that, and so that's just such a cool thing, to be a part of. And I know all the parents with all that they have to do, so much that they have to do, but they bite their lip and just give it a shot because they know it's going to be something great that their kids are going to remember. And, I think they also get something out of it as well. So.
That is a group that you do have to make note of because it is very important.
It's so much.
Hi there. I want to take a minute to tell you about the Dig Pink program. You most likely know I've got some history as a head volleyball coach. Coaching for me was about providing opportunities for my players to grow and learn life lessons and to become the best volleyball players they could be. At the Side Out Foundation, we believe in using the power and influence of sport to build student athletes as people on and off the court. Players learn the value and importance of giving back to their community, working as a team, and taking initiative to get involved, all while directly helping people living with metastatic breast cancer and funding game-changing research. That is the Dig Pink journey. Dig Pink gives those wanting to do good a chance to be a part of something bigger than just volleyball. For more information, head to our website, side-out.org. All right, back to the show. Yeah, it's always been something for you all that's been really powerful too. There's always those few that step in there at the right time to help out, and they always seem to show up when they needed help.
We've always had those people, but I think they get it too. Yeah. You know, it's okay. Well, I sat in the back last year and I was the fly on the wall, but I can do that. Maybe they didn't even realize for themselves that they can do it until they had to be the one to step up to do it. And then when they do it, they're like, wow, that was a pretty great thing. Like, yeah, it was hard, but it was worth it, because their kids at the end of the day realized that like they were a big part of making this thing great. And, it's such a cool memory for those kids. And I have no doubt that that's one of the things that they'll look back at high school and say that was an awesome thing. And I take into consideration that when I'm thinking about what's the next thing we're going to do, next year, I want it to be something memorable for them so that, they'll do the same.
Yeah. I think you're very good at providing opportunity for folks. And that's like opportunity. Now you can't make them go there, do whatever for the most part. But if given the opportunity and they see it, it's something they do take a lot of pride in. And then they do put their heart and soul into something. So that's really great.
I'm also really lucky. I honestly believe that. My wife and I talk about it all the time, that we've just been so lucky. And going back to the car accident, so many things that could have happened that didn't, and I was given another chance. And to think about, the fact that our school district just happens to have 8 courts, which makes it perfect for a tournament, at most. 4 teams on a court is 32. Like if you've done anything with, March Madness, that's a good number. Just stuff like that. And having, supportive athletic directors who have always been, the amount of money that we have to spend on referees and custodians and all of that, and they don't bat an eyelash. It's, absolutely, because this is a great thing. This is a thing that, Queensbury can really take on. And then just to see other coaches who jump on that same bandwagon and they're raising $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, and you're like, how are you doing that? And they're like, well, we have somebody in our district who is suffering cancer right now, and the whole district rallies around that person. Like we had Hartford, which is a very small town, just outside of Hudson Falls, and they had a teacher who actually works in our district, but her kids go to that district, and they rallied around her when she had cancer, and all of the proceeds for that went to us, for Power Pink. And it was just so humbling. But they had their own T-shirts that they made, and they had a teacher versus student match, which is an awesome idea, and they made it a big thing, and it was a big community thing for them, rallying around this parent who just happens to be a teacher. She's in my department.
Wow. Okay.
It was just, incredible that that those things just always seem to happen. So I've been very lucky that, I've always had those people. And it always seems to be someone new who's just, needs help or gets inspired to help, or, just someone who just wants to do something. Yeah.
Well, Tyler, I am so thrilled that you made this trip. This was amazing. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for listening. Please share your feedback with us at www.side-out.org.